Now, I'm a big Apple user, and I've got things like Preview on my Mac, which is free, and on my phone, and even on the Mac, I've got the Photos app,
Mhm.
and I can open up a photograph and edit. And there's a button which is almost like auto, and it
Yeah.
applies a lot of these settings for me. If I'm really clueless and I just go, "Yep, I'll just hit that button," am I getting a good enough result, or is it worth me spending a bit of time and adjusting individual sliders and experimenting?
I guess it depends on how good your original image is. So that's a big thing. And that's where taking a little bit of time to set the image up in a way that it's already going to be as good as you can with whatever tools it is you have to take the image means that your edited image is then going to be that much better. The auto tools do work quite well, and they're actually sometimes a really good base point. So I sometimes use them as a starting point for an image and then go in and adjust sliders to change that. And you can do things like that on Instagram and where you can hit the auto, but then go back in and adjust all those settings. But it gets you to a nice starting point if you don't know where to start.
Right.
And then you can go in and kind of make it look a bit more your own by reducing or increasing those.
And if I've hit the auto button, um, my brain's telling me now that a computer somewhere has done its best job. What would I look at in that image to say, yeah, I think I'll go and adjust white balance or vibrancy? What little signals am I looking for to say I can do a bit more of this myself to make the image even better?
So the auto button's a really great place to start because it takes you right to, especially if you're new at it, it gets you to a starting point. But every image is different and it really depends on what it is you're trying to get out of that image. So you need to look at what it's done and say, okay, this image of mugs or whatever your product is or your person, it's not focused specifically on that. So it's not done as good a job as I think it needs to do. So I want to actually focus on these. So I'm going to now adjust even more for that specific person or item that it is you're trying to work with, because it doesn't know, you haven't told it this is what I'm focusing on. It's just looked at the overall image and gone, this is the best for everything within this image. But it might be that you want to brighten those bits up because they're the focal point of the image.
Right. And of course, it won't know that that thing beside the mug in the image is not what you want, and it will
Yeah.
not know to remove that. And you can go and remove
Yeah.
that extraneous object.
Yeah, no, it will never know what to remove. It'll only ever auto the colors and the exposure and all that kind of stuff. So if you want to remove something, that's something you have to do yourself. Now, remove tools are all AI because that's how they work. And they take what's around it and they use that information to get rid of whatever it is that you're trying to get rid of. And they're not perfect. So sometimes you have to do it a couple of times. Again, it's a little bit of playing around with it, but normally they're pretty good. And if you've got one big thing that you want to get rid of, it usually does a pretty good job.
Cool. Time for one more show and tell. So we've talked a lot about LinkedIn profile images because, as we've said many times, it's probably the image that people watching or listening to this will deal with the most. And arguably, everyone should go to their LinkedIn image and improve it. So I'll ask you to come up with. We've gone to you've gone to the web and got a random photo of a person, which is badly taken and would be a poor LinkedIn profile image.
Mhm.
No one would want to connect with the person. No one would want to hire them. And you've worked your magic. So you've got a before and after. Can you just talk through what you have done?
So we're going to be looking at the crop of the image. So making sure that the person is not absolutely dead center, but is cropped in so that we can see their faces. We can see them nice and clearly. We're going to make sure that they're bright, that the image is, if I was to scroll past it, I always use if I'm going to scroll past something, but I stop. So that's my gauge. And that's something that everybody can do. If you look at what it is you stop on, use all that. That's your knowledge of how you want something to look. But yeah, so you want it to look bright. You're wanting it to look punchy, a little bit of color in there. And we want to make sure that the person is, and we would make sure that the person is looking at the camera and looking forward. So that was something to make sure of before you take an image. But with this one, that was already the case. We were just making sure that it looked bright and noticeable, and just making sure that that person is going to be who you want to stop and look at.
So just as a quick contrast on the screen now is the before. We'll leave that for a couple of seconds so people can look at it. And here beside it is the after. And I think you can see the difference is radical. And I would imagine that, as you've described, people scrolling would be much more inclined to stop on that person and think, yeah, I think I will engage with this person.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think sometimes on LinkedIn, just having a profile picture is a big thing for people,
Yeah.
but you don't want to just jump into putting anything on there. It's not Facebook. It's not. You want people to stop and look.
Yeah,
So it's got to be
absolutely.
something that they're going to be attracted to.
Yeah. Cool.